Step on yours.
Hello everybody, thanks for showing up. You are the reminder that our scene isn't dead. As they always try to say, like, there's a music scene in San Francisco. Well, you come to something like this and you're like, oh yeah, hello, welcome. Thanks for leaving your studios to hang out with us. Thanks for leaving your houses for being with us. It's nice to see you. Anyway, anybody like this Music City place? Freaking cool. Like 20 years in the making, finally here, that looks good. So, if you're here for AI, you're in the right spot. If you don't know if you like AI, you're in the right spot. If you love AI, you're in the right spot. I've curated a panel of people that I think are going to either tell you what you already know or affirm what you're thinking. We're going to have fun for an hour, that's all I can guarantee. So, I'm going to have each of them introduce themselves. We'll start with our name and what our project is and where we're based. So my name is Stefan. I do marketing professionally. I do music stuff in order to hang out with all of you because it's nice to get hugs and handshakes and elbows and all the fun stuff. And I'm based over in Oakland.
Oh yeah,
Don't have to hand
Hey, how's it going? I'm Tommy Spears. I am based out of Oakland, California, and I produce festivals and events, mostly raves. I'm pretty much the rave guy. Yeah. So I've been raving in San Francisco and Oakland since '93. So quite a lot. Still around. One of the few that's still around.
I'm Jennifer Knight, and I'm based in wine country in Napa. And whenever anyone asks me what I do, I don't know how to answer the question because I do a lot of things. But I'm a vocalist, and I have a band called Mama Said, and I'm a certified life coach. I'm a voice actor, and I own a coffee company. So the one thing that all of these diverse things have in common is they do not have big budgets. And so I've had to learn to do a lot of things on my own. So like DIY, a lot of marketing and branding, and AI has really been instrumental in that.
My name is Saul Spady. I own a small ad agency out of Seattle called Creative Empowerment. I cut my teeth doing really low attendance but high broadcast shows at South by Southwest for about 5 years. My nickname was No Audience Guy until COVID, and then I was right. I am really excited to be talking about this because I hope that you said everybody knows everything we're going to say, because the one thing we know about AI is it has no original thought whatsoever. And so I'm excited to hopefully find a nugget of original thought that you can then input into AI so that we have even less original thought ever.
Sounds like a good plan. I'm Sonia Simmons. I am a songwriter and singer, vocalist. I work in sync, licensing my music to ads like Coca-Cola, Nevia, GoDaddy, those sort of things. And then I also have an online community of independent songwriters that I help find opportunities for their songs and find their way through navigating the world of music, business, sync, and I help run a licensing agency in the world of ads and trailers, and also DIY all of that. I'm also a mom of 2 little kiddos, so it's a full life. We wear lots of hats, and we're always trying to figure out how to streamline the process to get a lot done in a little time.
Nice. So I have a question for the people that are here. How many people in the audience don't use AI, like don't incorporate it? Cool, there are some. Okay, we might be your panel, we'll see. How many people in the audience hate AI, like just like F that, like I'm out? Oh my goodness, wow, nice crowd, like everybody here's for it. Okay, so across the panel here, I'll go last, but I'm curious, what's something you hate about AI? Like you're just like, not here for this, like out, I'm out.
Makes all of you think you're original thinkers while it's literally taking the original thought of everybody else to lie to you about how unoriginal you are. Okay.
Deception and coercion. That's because I work in imagery a lot, and we've all seen those deceptive images of AI images of like the little girl on the boat during the floods, and how that was used to push whatever they were against it. So that's a big bummer.
I would say allowing it to replace human beings is one of the things that I dislike about it in general. Not just AI, I don't mean robots or anything. I'm definitely a phone call type of guy, you know, meet in person, have a conversation, so I would say that's it.
Yeah, the human touch. I mean, I think the jury's still out on how it's going to affect actually the creation of music in terms of what you can use copyright-wise and what you can, and it's all kind of a really scrambled world right now, but, you know, they're getting better. It's getting better. It's sounding good, and in some ways, it's really helpful, but in terms of taking over the creative's job, like you said, it doesn't have a lot of novelty and innovation in its thought process, but that would be one of the things that I think about. It's just this idea that it could keep, you know, and it's already being used, like brands are already using it to use those lower budgets, knocking out the lower budget stuff.
The thing I hate about AI is it keeps tricking my mom and dad. So they'll send me these pictures and be like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Have you seen this? It's going around the internet right now. And I have to look at it and go, there's no way that's real. There's no way that's possibly real.
Yeah.
So it's like, just out there to protect my parents from getting tricked into believing that this large cat that's larger than humans being carried around is not altered in any way.
Exactly. But you know what? One thing, I like to think there's nothing is all good or all bad. And so one thing, like, when you can't look outside of yourself for what's true, when the external sources are crazy, it sort of, for me, in an esoteric way, forces me to go inward and decide what's true for myself, like to become more in touch with my own intuition, with my higher self, with my divine knowing of, it's kind of a spiritual way to look at it, but yeah, when there's so many things out there trying to trick you, it's a good opportunity to go in and decide for yourself what's actually true.
Well, and to kind of argue with myself just a tiny bit, like, just never forget that great artists steal, like we say that all the time, but I'll tell you as an ad agency owner, great ad agency owners, they bank rob, because at a certain point we're doing commercial shit, who cares, like, I can just remake a Coke commercial my own way. And like, we've always been in this iterative art generative world, right, where you see somebody like do impressionistic art and you're like, oh, maybe I can do impressionistic art, and you change your art style, right? And so where I love AI is it's the tool that is not a negative band member, that when I have an idea, it'll kind of like talk back to me and have a conversation and not be so shitty as regular human beings are about creative ideas, because like, it does know that all art is iterative, right? And that's the core of humanity, right? We're just copying ourselves.
Saul's been avoiding me because he called me shitty once, and it was probably because I was giving him a hard time about something, and AI will never do that to you. It'll do all the weird things you want it to do.
I'm sleeping on your couch. That's true. No, I got it.
Also, he lives in Seattle, so it's hard for us to hang out, so that's probably why he's been avoiding me as well. I'm going to piggyback on that. If we hate things about AI, what are the things that we love about AI?
For me, it's allowed me to do things that I never thought I could possibly do. Like I said, I do AI, use primarily imagery, so I do the controversial, I make AI portraits or do AI photo shoots of people for brands, and it's super exciting, and to your point, does it replace photographers? Like, in a sense, it gives me access to have a really surreal, trippy, dreamscapey photo shoot of myself, but at the same time, to counter that, I've spent more money on live photography, actual photography, because we all know that know, like, and trust is a thing especially when we're selling things or promoting things on the internet. So it's been very balanced for me that I've been able to hire actual photographers and keep it real, in a balanced way, but to also, without a set designer, a stylist, and photographer, create these photo branding sessions, I guess we call it.
I love that it's a really good editor of original thought. So I used to be a radio show host. I can run my mouth more than most human beings outside of comedians. And I would do this thing when I was on the radio before AI, where I do a 10-minute segment on like my solutions for homelessness. And then I'd make my poor producer like just take my quotes and write an article, because I didn't have time for that. It'd be like famous radio shows. And AI can literally do that way better than my producer. And what makes it a real art, people are like, wow, there's so much original thought in there for AI. It's like, yeah, because I literally gave it original thought and then asked it to make it sound better. If you ask it to give you original thought, you're just going to sound stupid. So I love that it likes original thinkers.
Yeah, I love that. And to piggyback on that, just in like cutting down on the time, it can take the mundane tasks of like having to sit through what are the quotes, what are the things, how would I want to draw that line of conclusion together, it can help make that quicker, faster, so that you can focus on the creative aspect or creative on the speech or, you know, work on what the creative piece of the puzzle. So in terms of the time factor, the streamlining of it, getting the little things done that you don't want to spend that time doing, it seems really helpful.
For me, I think one of the things that I kind of specialize in is finding new creative venues to do raves at, pretty much. And so I have to, you know, pull permits and work a lot with the cities. And this last season, I was pulling a permit, and of course, the cities always comes back with, oh, environmentally, we have these 6 things that you need to answer, and I'm just like, wow, I don't know the answer to any of these things. So I literally just cut and pasted their entire email questionnaire 1 through 6, slapped it in AI, and it gave me responses back that I submitted to the city, and they were like, this is great, and I was like, awesome, you know? So I think for me, you know, that's kind of a practical way. Also too, funny story, my daughter got a speeding ticket, so she's going to traffic school. So she's like, Dad, I need you to pay for this. I'm like, fine. So I pay for her traffic school, and she literally finishes it in like 25 minutes, the entire traffic school. And I'm like, how did you do that? And she's like, oh, well, I just forwarded every single video, and then took the questions, put it in ChatGPT, and submitted the answers. I was done in 20 minutes. And I'm like, great, love that, love that.
I mean, we let old people drive.
We only promise practical, not legal. We
Yeah, right.
All our options are going to be legal, just practical. So, only one person's recording, and we're going to burn it afterwards. In that, so if we're turning into practical things, my main work is working for Hilton. Through them, I have 3 social media platforms that I have to create content for. Have to create content for my own, have to create content for Balanced Breakfast, which is my music project. That's a lot of content on social media, and I'm more of a visual person, so I'm really diving in hard on the pictures, the videos, that kind of stuff. But like writing copy that's like sometimes repetitive, because it's like, how do you talk about something a different way 10 different times? That's where ChatGPT comes in handy, is that like, I've shown you a picture of a cocktail before, but now I'm going to show you the similar cocktail from a different angle and talk about it completely differently. My brain doesn't work that way. Like, I'm going to use ChatGPT to give me like some basis paragraphs, and then I'll say more formal, less formal, more funny, more flair, less flair, more, and then eventually something is like, hey, that looks different than what I've written before, and I'm like, how many different ways can you talk about a cocktail over the entire year? Like, my brain doesn't work that way. So that's how I like using it. Let's see. So in that vein of thinking, what like getting out of traffic school or writing social media content, what are some ways that you're actively putting social media into use, or AI into use?
I wrote articles, right, by taking my audio recordings and then having it rewrite it into an article. One-pagers, it's really good at iterating a one-page idea back to like the great advertisers Bancroft. Like my idea for Samsung to create a pop-up boutique house then can be rewritten really quickly for Coke because it's on the same basis. But you really do have to edit it. That's like all I can say to all of you. You know immediately when you got an AI condolence letter that was just written with just like, can you write a condolence letter? Now, can you write a condolence letter for my mom that mentions that time where I ate the dog's homework and then murdered the dog, and then that other time where like the cat ran away, and like all the times we've lost pets because I was a bad child. Like, write me that letter. That's gonna be a much better letter, right? You gave it a little.
I read it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm like a serial killer in that version because I'm murdering pets, but accidentally. But AI would respond. It would make that letter, right?
I love that usage. I think that's important to go back and edit it and also get really specific. It's language-based. If you're using something like ChatGPT, to get, like you said, you can get more flair. Like the tone, you can shift around. You can, like taking your talk and then making a one sheet, and you can kind of figure out what kind of tone you want it to be and shift that around. For me, I mean, I use it a couple different ways. One way that I can talk about is making stems. If you have a song and it gets a license, and they want the stems, and it's a really old song, and maybe you didn't have the stems back then, or recently it was like, here's this song from 1960s, can you reimagine this and make me like a remix of it for in a trailerized version? And you put it through AI, so you can get these really great stems. There are a few glitches. You need to go through and listen. You need to edit. You need to make sure that you can like take whatever glitch you try to come out. You know, make some bars. You need to figure it out. But that has been super helpful on the licensing side, making sure you have an instrumental or you have the stems for whatever you need. And that's been a game changer for a lot of music makers in terms of what your song is available for and licensing music.
That's great. I think on the event side of things, one of the biggest breakthroughs I think has been in ticketing, and it can apply for anyone that's trying to sell someone or to target to narrow down their demographic. I think, but what AI has really done is it'll go after and you'll understand a little more. Like, hey, this is this hot new artist. How are they going to do in my market? How have they done in the last in 7 different markets that are similar to, let's say, Oakland or San Francisco? Like, how have their sales been? How has merch sales been, and all these different things? And so then what you have now is, you have AI on your side that will help you predict how many tickets this artist is going to sell in your market. And so it could be, it's honestly monumental, because I think, people that do events or know there's a ton of risk. There's a ton of losses taken on a regular basis. I don't care how good you are. It's just a nature of the beast. And so I think AI is a great way to help narrow down that risk level.
I use it as a personal assistant sometimes just to, when I see images, like I like the color or the font, I can just ask ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT 4 or whatever it is, just because I like to use the images. But it'll tell me what is the font, what is a similar font. It'll tell me the hex code of the color, so I can use that to do iterative. And then for branding, I can give it I can tell it who I am. I'm a certified life coach for midlife women who in the online coaching space using new thought principles. And I can ask it to give me 3 branding concepts based on the industry trends, etc. And it will flesh out 3 very distinct brands for me, which is fascinating, right down to like logo ideas, taglines, color schemes, fonts. And from there, I can make an entire branding board, which I do for people sometimes, and you can see on my website. And it's just, it helps me overcome inertia, gives me that creative spark. But then what it gives me almost every single time is not something I would use right away. To your point, you have to put your human touch on it, or it's kind of done. But it just gives me that spark or something to start with.
One last one. I use it sometimes to talk to designers. So I'm a creative director, and I used to always have to just visually describe what I wanted to a designer. But then a great example, my friend was writing a book about the fall of the Pac-12 and the changing of the sports football culture, and I had an idea in my head, original to me. I was like, oh, that's like the Ides of March. I want all the mascots from the Pac-12 murdering the Pac-12 logo, like it's Caesar, while the rest of the country's mascots are turned away. And it made a really shitty version of that, but when I showed it to a professional designer, they immediately were like, oh, I get that, great idea, right? And I don't know if they would have necessarily, they didn't know what Ides of March was, or maybe they're like, designers don't read history, right? So it can break through something that maybe you can't visualize to somebody in a way that isn't like, make it splashy and zazzy and jazzy with purple.
Yeah.
But ChatGPT might do it.
I feel you so hard. As a voice actor, I'll get feedback like, okay, can you do it this time, louder but more blue and sound like you're underwater or something, and you're like, what? But I can use Midjourney to get just a trippy idea out of my head, and then Midjourney can start, representing that in an image. And it's a great way to talk to creatives. That's such a good point.
Another question for the crowd. Who isn't using ChatGPT? Okay, So we'll see if we're on the same page. When I wasn't using ChatGPT, I heard descriptions like this and was like, this sounds complicated. This sounds like I'm gonna have to like figure out how to use it. There's gonna be this user interface that's really complicated. I'm gonna have to know where to put things. The onboarding is gonna take 4 hours. Just so you know, you can't mess up. You just type some words, type some things, and the hardest thing is gonna be finding the enter button. You're like, where the heck did they put that? Okay, enter, and then blah. Just a bunch of junk, like junk after junk after junk. But somewhere in there's something good. So when you leave here, go fuck up, please. Like just go here and just type something out and push enter. That's gonna be the hardest part. You can send it to me after I read Saul's mom's email about eating the dog's homework. I'll read your stupid junk as well.
Do you guys have kids? If anybody has kids, just use it to write a child story for your kid. And your kid's way more creative than you and not scared. So ask them for like 3 paragraphs, but they want their story to be tonight. Record them, put that into ChatGPT. Boom! You wrote your bedtime story.
It's a text box with an enter button. That's all it is. It's just a box that you have to put something into it so that you can respond to. That's all you have to do. And if you paste the wrong thing, it'll give you something interesting that you're like, that's not what I asked for, but that's fun.
It's a good point about prompts. The prompting is really how you create something that's worth it or not. So to learn, as you refine the way you prompt AI, then you'll get better results. And I always say, dear ChatGPT, thank you in advance, just in case they take over.
Politeness.
You don't say hi first, you just put it in, you didn't say hi, but they were watching me do it, and I was like, oh, you're supposed to say hi, just
Wait, how many people say thank you?
They're gonna murder you. Asking questions on a ruler.
I would thank Siri afterwards. I'm like, thanks Siri for the directions. Thanks for helping me. Thanks for waking me up. Wait, I saw hands out here. Who thanks their AI here? I'm curious now. Are you thanking your AI afterwards? When you say that you're thanking?
now I am.
Okay.
Now,
yeah. So one. Okay. I don't know if there's any practical reasons that you should be thanking your AI, but like if there is, you heard it here first. Like consider it.
Conspiracy theories.
Anybody here not using Midjourney? Okay, just to give you a little context, it's on Discord. It works the same way. You give a prompt of a bunch of words. It pumps out a picture. You say, I don't like that picture. I want it different. It's not hard. They charge $15 a month, I think, and all you have to have is a prompt, and they'll give you stuff back. The tricky thing about it, same with ChatGPT, the less creative you are, the less creative the stuff that you get is. So the more details you give it, the more weird you are, the more elaborate you are, the more prompts you give, the more human you give, the better the outcome.
Midjourney is actually web-based now. You don't have to use it on Discord. It's
Thank God.
Midjourney Alpha.
I hate
You
this.
So
have
it's
to
an app
do-
now, or
Yeah, it's just a website.
just a website?
Yeah, you can just use it on a website. That's brand new though. You used to have to do 100 generations, I think, and then you could qualify to get Midjourney Alpha, but I think you can just do Midjourney Alpha.
If you want to know where I'm going to be tonight, I'm going to be on this website making weird
At
graphics.
a bar with your friend Saul, hanging out in San Francisco.
I'm going to be animating the dog's homework.
I'm Gen X and Discord freaks me out, so I was so happy when I didn't have to use Discord, but that's generational probably.
When I'm 80, I'm going to stop the Zennials from being president, just like Donald Trump, and my whole basis will be, they brought us Discord and that sucked. We can't trust them.
How many people out here are not, they don't describe themselves as musicians, like not a musician? Okay. So I've made one song, but I still don't really consider myself a musician, and the friend that I made that song with gets mad at me every time, because he's like, we made a song together, and I'm like, yeah, but I know musicians, and like...
Oh, one beat.
Yeah.
Listen to it, it's really good.
So I'm working on my second
I didn't
song.
make it, I like it, I listen, I'm a consumer.
Yeah, I got one song. But yeah, I'm making my second song, and I've been using heck of AI to make it because I don't have a specific instrument I do. I got noises in my head that I'm trying to get out, so I'll use ChatGPT combined with this app called Donna, combined with these other things. It's like, I'm just trying to get something out of my head that I can take to my friend and be like, is this as dumb as I think it is, or is it actually good, like we can turn it into something? So I guess by the end of this, if you decide that everything I said is dumb, please still try it, and then that way it'll be like, we're making dumb stuff together, this is great.
Only as dumb as what you put in.
I'm putting dumb stuff in.
Might be done.
Okay, so I got a question that relates to our title. Is it weird to call AI practical?
Why would it be weird to call it practical? I don't think so. It has lots of practical applications.
But that's because you're on a panel. Like someone out here might be thinking like AI, that just takes up time. I'm like, it's not helping me. It's like,
Oh, it's gonna only get better. In the last 6 months, it's only become like, oh, I was on the outskirts, I couldn't quite get it. Like Midjourney, the faces were all messed up for like, I don't know, 9 months ago. You couldn't get like maybe a year ago, I can't remember, but it is now like remarkable what you see. It's perfect. The faces, the photographs, like it's moving fast. So get in on it now, learn how to use it to your advantage now, and obviously always keep your original thought and know that that's the leading thing. But like for me, I'm one of the people who's like, I want to kind of like bury my head and not listen to it because I just know my way of doing things. But I don't want to fall behind. And also when I find these practical applications, it feels like it alleviates a lot of the harder stuff that takes me forever to do, so that I can focus on the other stuff. I mean, just coming back to you have to be creative in order to get a creative answer. So we have to like hold on to that as the most important piece so it doesn't take over the creative job.
And it doesn't have to be so overwhelming. I mean, I'm holding paper and I use AI. It's okay.
Yeah, I kind of think it's like getting to the gym, you know? It's like super tough to get there. And you're just like, man, I don't want to get out of bed. I'm not getting off the couch. But once you get there and you're in, you start working out, you're like, this is great. Why don't I do this every day, right? So I think AI is similar to that, where it's like, yeah, I don't want to type something in there. I got this, get on my own. But the reality is the more familiar you get with it and you start throwing stuff in there on the array and get to know, like you guys were saying, you know, okay, do this, tell it this, give it this detail. Once you start incorporating it, it's great. I mean, like for instance, Siri. I hate Siri. I don't use Siri. My daughter's been using it from the gate. I'm still the guy that's like driving with one hand trying to text, and I don't love that. Yeah, I don't love that. I need to get Siri in my life, but I'll get there.
Just say thank you after every request.
Yeah, right.
Noted. I'm not going to nail this quote right, but I met this crypto dude once, and we were talking, and then he was also really into AI, and we were going
It's
back
like
and
I
forth.
said for a joke.
No, it'll make sense. Just bear with me. And we were talking about the practicalness of crypto. He's like, honestly, like crypto is like a spice cabinet. It's nice to have, but AI is like water. You'll die without it. I think it's pretty practical. That's all I can say. I think you should integrate it into your system. I think if any of you think AI is more creative than you, you're really stupid. That's about all I have to say. I'm not afraid.
I gotta bring back. So the nature of panels, I always like it when they take off to the races and then come back to the beginning and be like, okay, let's start over again. So bringing it back to AI, bringing it back to practical ways that maybe you're going to use this when you leave here. So I do marketing, so I'm not making songs on the regular. So I'm not going to tell you how to layer your music, how to like get inspiration for your music, but I do marketing and lots of social media and lots of graphic and event generation. So one of the biggest ways that I do use AI is taking Midjourney and trying to create graphics that I couldn't tell a human to make me and not have them give me weird looks. And so for example, like with Balanced Breakfast events, I like to brand around owls in pink hoodies holding big donuts that are larger than life. That's a weird request. So what I like to do with that is take that and then put it on a background of thousands and thousands and thousands of donuts. How are you going to do a photo shoot with like a wall of thousands of donuts? Like my budget's not that big. So what I like to do is lean on my skills, which are Photoshop. So Photoshop combined with AI to make graphics that like aren't just being pumped out by this generator that's saying, oh, if you put in the same words, this guy's going to get the same thing. If you put in the same words, this person's going to get the same thing. I'm editing it in Photoshop to make it mine.
Exactly what I do.
So tell me about it.
Except I do that, and it's so great for that. And it brings what's in my weird brain onto an image, which is so fun. But you can also do actual photo shoots of your likeness. And I will be promotional in this one. If you go to my website, you can see Jennifer Knight, KNIGHT.net, and there's an AI tab that I set up just for this, but you can do a photo shoot, so you can see the selfie that someone gave me, and then a gallery next to it of the photo shoot that I did for them, and which is amazing. You can face swap. You can give Midjourney actual prompts. You can give it a character reference and a style reference. So I can, even in my prompting, so I can upload my own selfie and a picture of a setting, like here, or something that I like, and then I can place myself in that setting. What's spit out is typically not so great, so I still use a face swapper, but it's just interesting that you can actually create those types of realistic likenesses, but then deception and coercion is, not a good deal, so you have to be careful about how, I'm careful about how I use it, but I like it the most when it's trippy, dreamscapey, not trying to be passed off as something real, but just, it gives me the opportunity to do something kind of just wild.
I guess I'll go back to the storytelling concept, because I actually, great artist steal, great advertising, bankrupt. I definitely stole that from a friend who told me they were making stories for their kids every night and using AI and ChatGPT. And then I wrote a business plan for it, and I asked ChatGPT, because I do this weird thing where I add celebrities to my business plans, because ChatGPT wants more inputs. So you ask it to make you a storytelling app. It's not as good as the idea when you ask it to make you a storytelling app partnering with Jessica Alba, because ChatGPT is like him, and we all love Jessica Alba, gets really excited, it's like, oh, it's the honest storytelling app. And then it does do like this weird thing where it can iterate an idea that maybe you didn't have off of this idea, where like, I asked it, like, what's another thing we could do? And it's like, oh, we could take AI and record Jessica Alba's voice for 30 minutes, and then let every kid license their favorite artist's voice to read them the crazy stories. And then this is where I'll end with a joke. Your child's gonna have like real dystopian issues because they're gonna go to their therapist and be like, I always remember just like my dad telling me to prompt something, and then The Rock would just tell me the craziest stories every night for years. My parents were never around. Was that real? And he's like, oh yeah, no, that was the AI storytelling app made by that real jerk Saul Spady.
But as a voice actor, you gotta get consent.
Oh, totally. No. We partnered with Jessica. We didn't steal. We're not. Yeah, she didn't pay. No, it's her company, right? She made it.
Yeah.
But
Jessica, all the money.
I guess I'm carrying you through the process where I heard my friend have a good idea. I wrote a one-pager. I then had ChatGPT edit my one-pager, and then it came up with a concept that made me laugh. That maybe, but that's the process, right? Like you need to input into it a lot. The same way if you just search Google once for something, it doesn't give you what you want, and you just leave. Like, that's on you, right? Try Google a couple times. Like, iterate through ChatGPT.
So, in that vein of thinking, what is a useless way that you use AI where you're like, that didn't really have a use case for me, but I tried it? I can give you an example. So, for example, my friend told me that ChatGPT can tell me what to wear. So, if you're thinking, hey, I'm going to do a show tonight, I want to wear something that like fits in my brand. So I submitted a photo, or I submitted details about color eyes, color of skin, color of hair, and one other thing, and said what would be the perfect outfit for me. Well, it clearly did not say lime green socks, pink shoes, white pants, green hoodie, but that's what I like to wear. But if you like to wear complementary colors that look good with your skin color, your hair color, and your eye colors, ChatGPT can help you with that.
So something where it didn't work out, we tried it and it didn't work out, is that the question? Okay. So yeah, I tried to ask it about like what are 10 licensing agencies that are accepting music, what's their website and their contact information. And so they gave me 10, the website and contact information was wrong. So it really wasn't that helpful. I had to go and research it all. So
I did how to book my band at a music festival, and it was just generic stuff. It didn't give me like the name and the number of the contact info.
What are the names? What are the people?
Yeah, I agree with that.
There's this politician that I hate in Seattle, and I started off by trying to have it like write angry jingles about him, and then it didn't do very good angry jingles. And then I wrote my own versions of the angry jingles that I thought were way better, and I was like, haha, ChatGPT, you're not that smart. And then I put that in, and then it made mine better. So I don't know. So complicated.
When everybody knows if you've used Midjourney or ChatGPT for images. They do not get hands right. The hands are always awful. Crossed legs. There'll be like an elbow sticking out of an ear. So there's quite a bit of human touch. If you find gold in there, but there's an elbow in the ear, then you have to go to Photoshop.
As long as that.
Yeah, and groups of people is really challenging. Sometimes I've done some brand images for my band where 3 core members, and you can, in a face swapping app that I've found, you can face swap up to 4 faces at one time. But three bodies, AI doesn't, people are weird.
3 body problem.
3 body problem. Do a threesome, there's always problems.
Television show on Netflix.
Okay, so we've sort of talked about our favorite apps. I'm curious, what are a list of like all the ones you use, even if they're like small? Like, what are some applications you're using right now? So, for example, we talked about Midjourney. I use ChatGPT. I use a lot of Photoshop. I don't like how Photoshop does people yet. It's wonky, but for objects, they're really good. And then when I'm not using Photoshop or AI or Illustrator, I'll use Canva. And one thing I really like in Canva is their ability to expand something bigger. Like if it's like, oh, this picture is too small, AI will make it expand in a few directions so that it still fits the text that I'm putting on top. So what are the list of apps that you're using?
I don't know about a list, but I think as far as an app, I think it's one of the better for events in the industry. It's called Seat Cycle. And Seat Cycle, what it does is it does kind of the feature that I mentioned earlier. It will go out and you can research artists and different things, and it'll go through like their YouTube and all what's trending right now on the internet, and kind of just scrape the internet to see how hot they are, which is amazing. But it's really cool because and also you can submit a venue into it and say, hey, I have this venue. How many people do you think it will hold for this type of band? Put the band in, and it'll literally spit out a number that's comfortable in that venue based on the band and I think how their crowd interacts with the band. So there's some really amazing things. Also too with like merchandise, and I also have a bar catering company as well that we're always looking to see, hey, how much do people spend? Like is this a drinking crowd or is it not a drinking crowd? How much beer should we buy based on the last bar sales from the last 5 events? And so you can get really nitty gritty in this, and it spits out some really great information. So I would say, yeah, Seat Cycle.
I use Canva is really robust. Actually, their AI features, the generative fill around to resize photos is amazing. I use ideograms sometimes for like logos and illustrations. There's one called Diffusion Bee that you can take sort of an illustration and make it photographic. So if you, I don't know, put the Morton Salt Girl or something, you can use that and create yourself as the Morton Salt Girl in a more photorealistic way, which is interesting. Midjourney, ChatGPT, Canva.
The first time, I don't know if you guys are in Adobe programs, but the first time I had to use Canva, I was so mad because I was like, kind of, like when you learn Adobe products, you start to get this like ego that you're like, yeah, I'm gonna use Photoshop, I don't know what you're using, I use Illustrator, I don't know what you're using, I use this, and then someone says you have to use Canva, and you're like, man, everybody's using Canva, I'm like specialist. But then you start using it and you're like, crap, like this is good for collaboration, this is good when you have to send it off to a bunch of other people, like, I'm slowly stopping my hate. It's not gone, but it's stopping.
I just use ChatGPT, I should learn some other stuff.
Yeah, the steps one is like La 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 AI. I use that one. ChatGPT. Grok is the paid version of ChatGPT, which I use sometimes for emails, and just getting the right tone. It seems to have a little bit more complexity. Canva, recently I realized that they also can make like low
what's the word I'm looking for? Resolution photos, high resolution photos. Like it looks kind of blurry and fuzzy, and then it can make it better. So that I think is kind of amazing. For these old photos that you had, you can upload and make them not look so blurry. I don't know.
I used to hate that in detective shows. Like as a photographer and graphic designer, they'd like take a photo of a license plate and they're like, it's all blurry, enhance it. And I was like, the pixels aren't there, you can't enhance it. But yeah, I don't know. We might be able to enhance nothing now. I don't know. It's
I
getting
don't know,
there.
it seems like it. I just kind of came across that the other day. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah. Do we have a mic for audience, or should I take my mic into the audience? Yeah, I'll take my mic into the audience. Wait for me. I'm coming to you.
Or you can just yell at us. Are you
I don't want it. I want everybody to hear it. I'm going out here.
Fine.
Okay, this is like real moderation. It'll come that way too. 5 minutes. Video. That was quick. I could have
I can speak to that. I'm part of the Secret AI Society, which is like, I know,
amazing.
right?
Is there a bar?
It's very exclusive. You have to ask Siri if you'd be allowed it. But it's actually an online curriculum that teaches all kinds of graphic design, AI photo shoots, video. I don't personally, I haven't gotten there and I don't have a use for it, so I haven't used it, but it's sort of like deep fakes where like the instructor has a video of her, I think it's like Brad Pitt and somebody else, Ryan Gosling, kissing her and saying good morning or something. It's wild. The other thing that you can do is you can have like for merchandisers or people in retail, you can have like, or maybe even merch for musicians, you can have your shirt, like your band merch, and then you can create an AI model wearing your shirt, wearing your own merch, which is crazy. But the AI Secret Society teaches all of that, and I just haven't got there. I share more about that, but it's becoming more and more accessible. And again, I'll be promotional, on my website, jenniferknight.net, on the AI tab, if you go to the bottom, I have an affiliate link for the Secret AI Society. If you hit that button, you can just learn more about what that is.
Another question, last one. You're closing.
I'm wondering if anyone has any experience or thoughts about using AI to make music.
I will say I'm not a musician and I'm making one song using AI, but it's one of those things where I hear it and I'm like, hey, and I show it to my friend and he's like, that's. So I feel mischievous.
It does really funny jingles. Like I'll go back to that jingle thing. Like it can make a rewrite of a Friends episode really well. But it's iterating, right? Like it'll script something that was based on something you already had. I really enjoy AI videos that like have the country music stuff. Like, but those are jokes, right? Don't they feel like SNL jingles more than real music? That's kind of where I get to. You know what I mean?
Question for Simon, actually. So I think, along the lines of this AI for music, right? Like I'm curious in the songwriting process, have you used ChatGPT for, say, lyrics or thematically? Like, so get something in the style of Drake, but you're writing in the style of Taylor Swift, like that kind of idea.
Yeah, I think for lyrics it's helpful. Again, I've never used exactly what they've written, but in terms of just like, I didn't think about that word, or that's a great concept. Let me think about like how, maybe not concept, but maybe a word that they use or half of a sentence. I was like, I like that, I can move it with this, or if I'm stuck on a line, I'm writing a couple lines and I'm like, well, what would rhyme with this, or what could be, like, can you write me another verse that sounds like this, put in some of it, or I'm writing a song about this is the brief, what are some concepts that I could write, and usually it's just that it gets the creative wheel going, you're like, cool, let me develop this. So yeah, definitely use it, and it helps, like, from everything from rhyming to developing an idea.
I wrote a song sample for a friend. I'm not a songwriter, but I introduced two friends together. They're both influencers. One's a famous chef, the other one's a pretty well-known musician. And then he dumped her. It was a really bad relationship. And one of his lines was that he started dating because he wanted to date blue check marks, because he was a blue check mark. And I was like, I have ChatGPT to write. I described the situation between them, and I said, write a song called Blue Checkmark Baby. That's like a revenge song.
And I'd say it has like a couple of sentences, like you could have used that as the beginning and workshop line by line like you did, and I think you could have come out with a good blue check mark baby. If you just ran with what you had there, didn't edit, kind of shitty song.
AI is like a spark starter. It gets it going, but you gotta, well, that's the fun, right? You wanna be creative, but it's a good spark.
So if each of you had 10 seconds to tell everybody out here, like, how to find you later, like, what to look up, what would be your 10-second elevator pitch?
You can find me at sonetmusic.com, 2indie with the number 2indie if you're a songwriter looking for information around sync and getting your music license.
I'm the real Saul Spady, just at Saul Spady on Instagram. I'm not very attractive, so slide into my DMs. No one ever does it. We can talk about business.
I do a lot of things, but most of it is encapsulated at jenniferknight.net, KNIGHT. There's an AI tab for some of the things I was referring to today. I have a coffee company in Napa and Sonoma, so if you're over there, come to Ohm Coffee Roasters. I have a band, Mama Said, and that's at Mama Said Band NV for Napa Valley on Instagram, Facebook, and that's it.
Awesome. You can find me at vcreative.com. That's V as in Victor, H-E Creative. You can also on Instagram, T Spear Jr. I'm DJing at a rave tonight at 5 a.m. If anyone wants to come, hit me up. Underground, not too far from here, so you can find me there as well.
Will you make it to church in the morning?
I will not be at church because I'm flying to Kona instead. So 9 a.m. flight.
My name's Stefan. You can find me in two spots, Stefan Aronson on Instagram or Balance Breakfast, and Balance Breakfast hosts meetups, so if you want to meet other creative musicians, music industry people, or people that just want to like get you out of the studio, we're meeting tomorrow at 1 o'clock at Park 55 Hotel, so we do it every month. Music industry meetups in Oakland, San Francisco, San Jose, Santa Rosa. You can ask me about that. And we're not leaving, we just don't get to have this stage anymore, so you can talk to us afterwards.